Hello everyone. So today we are going to study about the topic called recruitment. Recruitment comes under the staffing process. It is one of the topics. And last video you actually learned the staffing process. So first one is recruitment. Now what under recruitment, what are the things you'll be learning? You learn the meaning, the sources of recruitment, which is a very important 8 marker. And then you under internal source and external source, you will be learning the merits and the demerits. So first we will speak about the merits and the demerits of internal and external. Then we would go to the sources of recruitment. Now please understand this topic sources is an 8 marker, merits and demerits of both the topics is a 4 marker. Now what is the meaning of recruitment? Recruitment I've already explained to you. It is a process of finding and attracting suitable candidates for employment. Now, how are you going to find and attract people? Either it's going to be through the internal sources that's within the organization, or it's going to be external that's outside the organization. What is the basic principle of recruitment? You need to find the right person to do the right job. It is very important. Why? If you do not find the right person to do the right job, then the employee or the candidate will be dissatisfied and the organization will not be able to achieve its goals. Example, you're interested to work for an accounting process, but you get hired for a marketing job, you would not be interested. So that is a basic example for right person selected for the right job. The next slide is merits of internal sources. Please understand internal sources refers to filling vacancies within the organization. We are not talking anything outside the organization. So what are the two ways of filling within the organization? It is through promotion and it is through transfer. So we will see what is the advantages of promoting and transferring people. Okay, so the first one is when you promote people, what is happening? You're motivating them to work even more higher or to work even more efficient enough to achieving the organizational goals. So what is happening? The employees are very loyal and they feel satisfied with their job. Why? Because when you get promoted, your salary is increasing, your skills, your responsibility and your standard of living is also increasing. The second point, internal recruitment simplifies the process of selection and placement. What is the selection and placement? You're not wasting a lot of time and you're not wasting a lot of money finding people for the job. You are promoting people who have the required skill set. So it is very simple. And what is happening? This is more reliable. Why? Because you already know the employee and you also know how efficient the employee can work. Okay, efficient is also called accurately. Next one, transfer. It is a tool of training the employees to prepare them for a higher job. So what is it? Transfer is not promoting. It means, example, I don't want to work for a night shift. I want to work for a day shift. So I get transferred into another team. So what is it? There is no increase in hike or salary or standard of living or status. It's just that there's some changes in your responsibility depending on the team that you are moved into. So next one. It is a benefit of shifting your workforce. That means the same example I gave you. You don't want to work for a night shift, you want to work for a day shift. So what is happening? Now the thing is, in whichever team there are more employees, and let's say there is another team that there is lacking employees, they don't have much employees to do the job. So the surplus employees from, let's say, team A will get shifted to team B. So there is no need for you to hire people from outside. So what is the next point says? Filling jobs internally is cheaper. Why? Because if you have to go through the interview process of getting the best people for your organization, it takes a lot of time and it is a very costly process. Now coming down to the limitations of internal sources. The first one will be what? You cannot bring in fresh talent. Okay, why? Because the same employees who are working with you are there with you and you are promoting them and you're transferring them. So what is happening? People who have new ideas and all these people coming from new organizations are all like, let's say, different organizations are from outside your organization. So you cannot bring them. Why? Because you are bringing in people within your organization. We are talking about internal. So what is happening? They are all stuck with the same old ideas and they do not have new blood. Okay, new blood means people with new ideas, fresh ideas, who are a lot of talented and who can take even more higher responsibilities. The next thing is people who are working in our own same organizations become very lazy. Why they become lazy? They are so comfortable working for 5 to 10 years in the same organization that even if they don't get promoted, they are very much happy to work for the organization. So what is happening? They become very lazy and they're not least bothered even if they get promoted. So the next one is a new enterprise cannot use internal sources of recruitment. No organization can fill. This is something that's important. Example, you need to hire a chartered accountant. Let's say the people who are working with you, nobody is a chartered accountant. Okay, so what can you do? You cannot fill that position because all the positions within your organization for different other accounting or finance job it's already filled. So what you have, you are lacking resources where you need to hire from outside. Next one is the spirit of competition among employees may be hampered. Why? Because they become so lethargic working in the same organization that everybody becomes friends and they're like, okay, it's okay even if I don't get promoted, it's okay even if I don't get a higher increment, I'm fine, and this organization is, I'm set to this organization, so I'm fine even if so what is happening? There is negative competition or there is no competition at all. Next one, frequent transfers of employees will reduce the productivity. How it's going to reduce the productivity? Because every time you transfer a person to a different team, you need to keep teaching him new things or like how the process is going to work at least for 2 weeks or let's say 1 month. He needs to understand. So that is how it's going to hamper the productivity. Next one, merits of external sources. Now, external sources you need to understand, we're not talking within the organization. We are recruiting people outside the organization through different modes, direct recruitment, casual callers, advertisements. So all these, web publishing, these are the ways where we are getting employees into our organization. You would understand external sources when you listen to my video on sources of recruitment. So what are the advantages? You are getting qualified people because we are talking about getting the best people from outside. So what is happening? You have a wider choice of recruiting different. So to hire, like let's say 5 positions, you need to bring in people into your organization. You interview 300 to 400 people just for 5 positions. So what is happening? You have a large number of applicants who are applying for your job. And what is happening? You get the best by, because you have a wider choice where you can select from the best. Okay, the next one is you can attract a lot of qualified people. Definitely qualified and trained people who have a lot of experience, knowledge and skill are the ones who will apply for the job vacancy. So depending on that, you will get the best for your job opening. Next one is fresh talent. What is happening? The present employees means whoever is working internally, they may be insufficient or they may not be able to handle the specifications of the job. That is, example is what chartered accountants. So the chartered accountants auditing job and all, these people who are already working, they cannot do that job. So what you have to do? You have to select people who have the required skill and knowledge. And what happens? This becomes very expensive and time consuming. Why? Because those people's salary, what you need to pay is much more higher than what salary you need to pay within the organization, because we are talking about quality people. Next one is competitive spirit. If a company taps external sources, what is happening? The existing staff, the old staff within the organization will feel much more competent, and they'll feel, yes, we have to show the outsiders how good we are at our job. So that competition spirit comes into the old employees, and they want to show better performance. Next one is limitations of external sources. The first one is dissatisfaction among existing staff. So what is happening here? The employees, that's the old employees working in the organization, are dissatisfied and frustrated. Why? Because they would have thought that they would get promoted into that position, like let's say manager's position or team leader's position, because they are already taking a lot of responsibility and they are learning a lot of things. But what happens, all of a sudden the management is bringing people from outside. So what is happening, their chances of promotion is getting reduced and they feel dissatisfied and frustrated. Next one, it's a lengthy procedure. What is a lengthy procedure? Getting people from outside is a very lengthy procedure. Why? Because there are so many applications that is coming to the organization, and there's a lot of time and money that is spent on the selection process. And the procedure is not a small procedure. In my selection video, you would understand how difficult it is to select the best employee or the best applicant, and it is a long procedure. So the third one is costly process. What is a costly process? For you to get people from outside, it's a costly process. Why? Because you need to select the best, and for you to select the best, there's a lot of time that you need to waste, and you need to waste time, like example on advertisement, web publishing, and you need to spend a lot of time on, let's say, advertising on televisions and all these things. So what is happening? Money is getting spent. So it becomes a very costly process. And if you're getting people from outside, their salary expectations will also be high. So all these are the limitations of external sources. So put together merits and demerits of internal is a 4 marker. Put together merits and demerits of external sources is again a 4 marker. The next topic that you will actually be learning is the sources of